It's a big day for the Romneys as the family horse Rafalka makes its Olympic debut. Anne Romney cheering on the horse she co-owns in London, but where's her husband Mitt? He's back here in the United States preparing to pick a vice president and possibly trying to avoid charges that a sport involving horse ballet might not make him the most relatable candidate for the average voter. And things like this don't help.
No surprise, the liberal critics call dressage elitist just because the uniform makes you look like Lady Mary's suitor from Downton Abbey. I expected this from liberals, but I did not expect this from a conservative like Charles Krauthammer.
I'm not sure why the horse has to be in the most upper-class, hoity-toity Olympic event ever invented. It's unnecessary. They're running for the presidency.
How dare you, sir? Dressage is not hoity-toity. It is frou-frou. Get your facts straight.
You just can't help but laugh. Anyway, a new poll shows a majority of voters in 3 swing states, critical swing states, Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, say Mitt Romney does not care about the needs and problems of people like them. And that is a problem for Mitt Romney. Joining me now, John Avlon, a CNN contributor. He's an independent. And Roland Martin, also a CNN contributor. He leans left. Welcome to both of you.
I'm going to lean right today.
Are you? Oh,
yes,
I can't wait for that. I'm excited for that. So let me ask you the first question then, Roland. Mitt Romney's here in the United States. Anne Romney is in London watching her horse perform. You know, on a personal level, I'd want my husband to be with me.
Horrible optics. No, he shouldn't be there because he is running for president, but it's horrible optics. I find it interesting that if you are a conservative, you will criticize President Barack Obama for vacationing on Martha's Vineyard, but then you have this image of Anne Romney and her horse in this particular Olympics. Look, the Obama campaign has done a very effective job of defining the narrative of the kind of guy that Mitt Romney is. We criticize negative campaigning. This is precisely why they have painted him as a rich, out-of-touch guy who cannot speak to the everyday voter. And so that's going to be a crucial component in the next 96 days.
Well, John, you knew Roland wasn't going to lean right. Yeah. So is there another side?
No, that's just fair analysis. That's just easy analysis.
I mean, look, I think, you know, the negative narratives work best when they riff off something real. And, you know, what American doesn't like to kick back with a beer on the couch and watch a little horse dancing? It is the most elitist sport you can come up with. So it's a real fundamental problem because it reinforces that narrative.
Well, why did they enter the horse in the Olympics?
Because this is Anne Romney's big shot to have her horse, compete in the Olympics. And
but it's her husband's big shot to be president.
Sure Romney was going to have the nomination, perhaps. It's unfortunate. But this news cycle will not define the election race. But this isn't the conversation they're looking forward to back in Boston.
Well, Romney did release this new ad, and I want to play it for people. He's in an SUV in a plaid shirt. Let's watch.
My own experience was I got the chance to start my own business. I know what it's like to hire people and to wonder whether you're going to be able to make ends meet down the road.
Freedom and free enterprise are what create.
Okay, so this ad will run in the swing state of Virginia, where Romney really needs to win that state. So does this kind of thing soften his image at all? Roland?
They're trying to soften his image, but when he says, because you notice, I started a small business, I hired people. I don't think a small business owner out there will put themselves in the same category of a Bain Capital. I doubt it very seriously. And again, one of the things that Romney has always had a problem with, he has always had a problem just being able to sit down and interact and communicate with just regular, ordinary voters. I remember in Pennsylvania when he criticized the cookies of the Pennsylvania bakery, of course, that was owned by a Republican. And so he has to be able to somehow connect that way, but it's difficult. I mean, I called him Plastic Man in 2008, and that's part of the problem.
I remember when Barack Obama tried to bowl during the 2008 campaign. He didn't connect with anyone because it wasn't quite real. So they both are guilty of this.
First of all, a bunch of regular people can't bowl. But my point is how you communicate. No, let's just be honest. How do you communicate with a person in everyday conversation? That's Romney's struggle a bit.
John, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, look, the whole point of this... The whole point of this ad is to humanize, is to soften the candidate and make people understand Mitt Romney, the man. And he has a very compelling story in many respects. But the problem is 100 days out, this is not the ad you necessarily want to be running at this stage of the campaign, because it does indicate a need to humanize the candidate. And the fact that Mitt Romney came back from Europe and immediately embarked on a swing state tour and releases ads like this does show that his campaign is taking this challenge seriously. These new polls of likely voters in these key swing states show that at a time when voters are starting to make up their mind, the numbers are not trending in their direction. This is an attempt to address that, and it's an important one, because people need to feel a sense of connection with a candidate before they make him president.
You know, the only thing that I will say about this ad is that this poll also shows that people do admire Mitt Romney's business acumen, and maybe, you know, that will spark something in people. And, you know, he's talking about a businessman. Isn't that what he should be talking about?
Yes, he should be talking about that. But again, he should be having events where he literally is talking to homeowners. He's talking to people who are renters. He's talking to people who are out there trying to get a credit line because they have a business. And so he has to be able to interact and show that. Remember, he said before that it was his wife and his sons who were going to also humanize him a bit more. It's a little hard to humanize him when she's over in London looking at this horse. And again, that's part of his problem. And so he's going to have to connect in a much better way to compete against President Obama, who can be very smooth. He's not the greatest person communicating with everyday voters as well. The president's not that way, but he does a better job than Romney does.
All right, Roland Martin, John Avlon, thank you so much for the conversation this morning.
Let's go bowling, Carol.
Yeah, I bet you're a good bowler, too.
I'm okay.
Okay, I'll beat you then.
We'll have a bowl.
Bring it. Bring it.
We'll bowl some.
Roland Martin, John Avlon, thanks.